Welcome to the Hot Rock Podcast. Steve Garland here, and today's a special day because I've been digging this guy's new single, and I went back and discovered a whole bunch of tracks that he's had out. And don't you love it when you discover somebody that you love the music, but you didn't know they were there? It's like a brand new case of candy on your front door. The brand new single is Doom. It's out now, along with the official music video, and he's on select tour dates with Skid Row and Buck Cherry right now. Kurt Diemer, welcome to the show, Kurt.
Oh, thank you, Steve, for having me. I appreciate you discovering me.
I got to say, when you find somebody new that fits into some great hard rock, some good old rock and roll that I love, then I want to have them on the show. So welcome. Now, I want to talk about your new single, Doom. I understand this is from an upcoming film that you wrote, too. I love the title, Hellbilly Hollow. So I want you to tell me the story behind the song and what this film's all about.
I was in Halloween in 2018, actually killed by Michael Myers, the reboot with, the official one from back in the day with Jamie Lee Curtis. And while I was on that set, of course, my brain, the creative brain, just starts spinning. And I'm like, I'm going to create my own horror franchise. And I had already talked in the past with Kevin Wayne, who actually co-stars in that movie alongside me as my brother Tickles. And he said, we're going to do Hellbilly Hollow like we've been talking about. So we created all these different creative kills and just these two twisted brothers. And it's a franchise. And we've already written Hellbilly Hollow 2 called The Hollow Gang. And it's going to take it to a whole new level. But Hellbilly Hollow is a passion project. We shot at actual Hellbilly Hollow in Alabama, in Benson, Alabama. Lived there for a month in a trailer on the set of this of a real horror attraction. So I think it'll really introduce, like the first Halloween did, people to the franchise, and then it's only going to get better and better as the studios get behind it and whatnot, because that's a process in itself. On the final scene of that movie, it's literally, and it's no pun intended, it's explosive, and it needed a powerful song, and I wanted to write a song that, because I play a dark twist character in the movie, but I wanted to also write a song that would fit for that scene, but that would also kind of talk about the dark side of what we all as humans can go through in life if we become addicted to things, such as heroin or cocaine or just anything. It can be such a dark, pills for that matter. And it can really take you to a dark, dreadful part of your existence and create a sense of doom, if you will. So I thought that would be, a way I could share a subtle message with the fans that way. And then it's also just a rockin', kick-ass song that when it comes in hard there at the end of that movie, and then it plays through the beginning of the credits and whatnot, it's just something where people will be like, whoa. And I love the good old rock and roll like you, and that's what I'm trying to do in my way, Kind of like when AC/DC came out and Bon Scott, he had his unique voice, and that really gave me the courage that I could go out with my voice being unique and do it my way and rock people out, the same way, just in my own style. So that's how Doom came about.
Your mind, something dark and blue. We do drugs, we get lit, hate on each other, that ain't the worst of it. Doom. Psychos and killers roaming free, a lightning bolt, hepatitis C. Life is scary, a runaway train. Take the ride, go out of your brain. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melted on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Sex unprotected, you feel the bloom. A kiss of death could put you in a tomb. so alive in the dance of the dead. The dance of the dead. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Joke's on you. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon. Send it to the moon. I got some flowers for your mother. Doom, fire to consume. Check the sonic boom. Take another bullet for your brother. Doom, you melt it on a spoon.
It's the Hot Rock Podcast. Steve Garland here with my guest, Kurt Diemer. The new single is called Doom, and there's a lot of other great singles he's had out over the last couple of years as he ramps up his career. You can listen to all of it by just going to his website, kurtdiemer.com, Deimer, or go to wherever you get your digital music and look for the new single called Doom. You had firsthand experience with drug addiction and anxiety. How did you deal with that, and how has your life changed since then, Kurt?
Well, when I was a teenager, I would get really anxious. I was afraid to get up in front of class and speak. You get that fight or flight syndrome. So I self-medicated. I, partied a lot, did drugs. I would always feel better, when I did that. But then I just didn't know it was exasperating the problem. And I got pretty heavily into that, the white stuff till I was, about 19. And I called my dad one day. I was at University of Illinois, not going to class, not doing anything. I was nervous as hell all the time. I'd have heart palpitations. And I'm just like, I got to get out of here, Dad, or I'm going to die. And I need to start over. And that's when I ended up back in Cincinnati and moved in with my grandma and went to the University of Cincinnati. And then I just started drinking more and had played around in a band until I was about 20. And I still had this nervous problem. But then I met my kid's mom, and she kind of straightened me out. She was kind of driven to keep me on the straight and narrow. And
yeah,
we kind of helped each other out at the time. We were too young to get married, and that's why we're not anymore. And we shouldn't have married each other. But we have 3 beautiful kids, and we're married 22 years, so she really helped get me straightened out. But during the beginning of our journey, there were days, like when I got into the real world after I graduated, like I'd be in meetings or going out trying to get a job, and I'd have to do things early in the morning because the later in the day it was, I would get so anxious to the point where I just sometimes I had to just stop driving the car. All these triggers were all around me, and I finally figured out after going and talking to counselor or whatever, what do you call them, psychologists or whatever, that never worked, wasn't a fix. And I figured out on my own that my brain didn't make serotonin like normal humans do. And that's probably what your daughter has the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I did the research and everything on it. And I literally, probably after suffering my whole decade of my 20s, I went to the doctor and I said, I know exactly what's wrong with me. I want you to give me this Zoloft and ramp me up on it so my brain, makes serotonin. It's no side effects or anything. It's just a serotonin uptake inhibitor. And it puts serotonin into your brain. And it changed my whole life. And now I can get in front of thousands of people on a stage. I can go crazy. I can act in front of cameras. I can do everything I always wanted to do, but that anxiety kept me from doing that and limited me in the past. And once I got on that, that's when I was able to start my own oil companies. I used to be afraid on a sales call I get nervous, but I could sell. It just made me nervous. And so once I figured that out, my whole life changed, and here I am today. And I'm like been a normal human being, I feel like, ever since. If you haven't been through that, it's a terrifying thing.
Yeah. I think this plays into your message about spreading positivity, because that's kind of an unusual mission for a typical hard rocker to talk about hope and positivity, like your single from last year called Hero, which I also discovered this past week, which is very cool. So is that what's behind this decision, or you tell me?
Good question, because I think it's in my genes too. My dad was always one who told me to take the high road on everything and treat other people with kindness. My grandpa was a motivational speaker who would go around and speak to companies back in the 50s, and 60s all over the country. Him and my grandma would drive around, and he'd give speeches on motivation and positivity. And I read Norman Vincent Peale books and all these books while I was going through my anxiety, which taught me a lot about how to treat people. And I read a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. And
oh, yeah, I know it well. I read it when I was 18, and it changed my life.
Yes, I took the notes out of it, and that's how I was able to start my own companies, and all the things that I've done was all on that book. And the more you give, the more you get in life. And I've lived by those words. So I will help anybody, anywhere, anytime, because I know it's going to come back to me because I'm being kind and I can make a difference. And I'm not talking about, like, I refuse to give money to, like, these big companies that just, have staffs that drain your donations before they even get to the person. But I'm the kind of guy, I'll go out to a restaurant, and if I'm getting good service, and I can, the young lady or man, I can tell they're, maybe going through a struggle, or my gut tells me, I might leave a $500 tip, and it changes their life, and you should just see their look on their face. I think the more you give directly to help people, the more of a difference it makes in the world. And so that's how I choose to do it. And I feel like in my music, I'm getting all this stuff out of my brain that I suppressed and kept in there while I was going through my struggles and building my other companies and raising my kids. I suppressed my creativity, and it's like therapy for me to get all this out of my brain now, what I've learned and what I've been through, and to just try to be that rock for people that they can look at and go, okay, we love his rock music and his message, and he's someone we can look up to as someone who's not afraid of the world the way it is and all the problems that we have, and have that escape and, take something away from his show every night. So that's what I try to accomplish. So I told my grandma before she died, I was on tour and I couldn't go see her because the government said we couldn't visit our relatives, and she was 106, and she finally said, fuck it, and died at 106 because nobody could visit her. That week before she died, I said, I'm doing what Grandpa did. I'm out on tour, and I'm motivational speaking, if you will, but I'm doing it with rock and roll. And she was so happy and loved my music and all that. But yeah, it's just, I'm not afraid of the world, and I want to help people. Get on my back. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's be a family and rock out.
Surprise us, they don't know our names, but they're standing right beside lend a helping hand. I know you understand. Somebody be a hero. Be a hero. Be a hero. Be a hero. Be a hero.
You're listening to the Hot Rock Podcast. Steve Garland here. That song is called Hero from my guest, Kurt Diemer, whose new single is out right now called Doom. Let's talk about musical influences. Who are the bands that you listened to growing up?
Well, AC/DC, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, Rush, Jethro Tull. I've seen Judas Priest like 10 times in my life. And then in the 80s, I went more into alternative and started adding that to what I liked. And I discovered a band from Australia called the Hoodoo Gurus. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, check out the Hoodoo Gurus. And that became my favorite band in the 80s. And you can kind of see my stylings kind of come from him. He had a unique voice as well. I just liked all that kind of stuff. The Smiths, Psychedelic Furs, he's got a unique voice. I saw Ozzy and Randy before Randy passed away. And just going to those shows, it was like, if I could do this someday, I want to do it, and I want to do it right. But remember, at that time, I was also a nervous guy. So I was like, there's no way in hell I could get up on stage like that. So it was a catch-22, but it's always a dream.
We also have a friend in common, and that is the one and only Brian Wheat of Tesla. Now, I understand he discovered you. How did that happen?
Well, we were out with Tesla. I believe it was September of last year. We did a run down in Texas, and we were started in Dallas at the House of Blues, which we're going to be at next Thursday with Buck Cherry and Skid Row. But we're down in Texas, started at the House of Blues. I think we went to the Houston House of Blues, and then we went out to Midland. And he came up to me while I'm sitting outside in my little chair having a smoke, and I'm just sitting there, and I hadn't talked to him the whole tour. And he goes, "Man, Brian Wheat wanted to introduce me to him, or introduce himself to me, and said, I really dig your music." And specifically, he brought up Hero. And he goes, "I really like your vibe. It sounds a lot like my other project, Soul Motor." He shared some Soul Motor songs, and we just hit it off, and didn't really think anything about him managing me. He just was digging my music and wanted to see if I wanted to write with me and stuff like that. And about a month or two later, towards the end of the year, I wasn't really happy with what my management was doing that I had at the time. There's kind of I don't know, just really nothing was happening the way I wanted it. And, you got to make changes. You got to be able to pivot. And I called Brian. And I just said, what do you think if I wanted you to manage me? Because you built this thing from your garage when you were a teenager to where you guys are now. And I know you know the business and who's in and who's out and who's going to treat me right and not take advantage of me. And thought about it for a little while, and he took me on, and here we are today.
Wow.
He's been very instrumental in we've elevated our game so much under him. I've even toured for 2 years yet. It'll be 2 years September. So, and I got Dean Robson along with him. He co-manages Tesla with him.
So you are set. You've got this new music coming out. You've got some great tracks under your belt, including, I do want to ask you real quickly about Have a Cigar, because I'm a Pink Floyd fan, and I know that you recorded that one in a very special studio. Would you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll tell you how it happened in a nutshell. Okay, I'll give you the short version. I had done this demo under the alias Bald Man, and that's how I originally started. And then I wrote I met this gentleman, Ben Trexel, out of Birmingham, Alabama, who was, a songwriter. And I was down there shooting movies and stuff. And one day, Ben and I met at the studio, and he had 3 songs, and his voice is kind of playing like a wedding singer. And I just said, let me try my voice. I haven't sung, in like 30 years, but let me show you what I can do. And we did these 3 songs. One of them will come out on my debut album, full-length album next year, called Southbound. And we met, and then he kept going, "Kurt, I think we can do a really cool version of Have a Cigar." So we did our little version, and I was just like, "Nah, it just falls flat with me, man. I'm just not digging it." So in the meantime, I had taken this demo out to California, got a little studio. I figured I need to start getting in the scene a little, figure out what this is all about. And the guy that was kind of managing me at the time said, "We need to take this demo and get it mixed by somebody out here." And one of the names was Chris Lord-Alge. And I said, and we didn't think we'd get Chris Lord-Alge to do it, but COVID had just hit. And Chris said, yeah, I'll do it. He kind of dig the vibe. And Ted Jensen, who masters my stuff, he had already dug the vibe on the Bald Man thing when he mastered the original Bald Man stuff. Chris agreed to do it. And while he was mixing these originals that I had, he said, that Have a Cigar you and Ben have on out there, let me show you what I can do with this and how this can sound. And let's start there. And then see if you like what I do. So that summer of 2020, he was working on that version while I was doing other stuff out in L.A. And he put this guitar solo on there and all that stuff. And I was blown away, like I got chills. And the way he had me sing it and just be myself, because, you know, I hadn't sung in 30 years. And it was Phil X playing guitar. And about a month later, we go shoot the music video that's out on YouTube. And it's me and Phil X and Brian Tishy and Steve Ferlazzo. We shoot this music video for it, and it just blew me away. And we have not done one show without playing Have a Cigar. So it went from a song I didn't want to do to a song Chris Lord-Alge wanted to prove what he could do for me and how he could work with me, to him taking me under his wing. And basically, I've learned the music business in Mix LA since that summer of 2020, because I'm there all the time. Chris and I are going out to dinner all the time. We go on trips together. It's like we've become great friends, but we have also created what you'll hear on this debut album next year is all the stuff Chris and I and Phil X created over the last 3 years. And then there's some tunes on there too that will be with Brian, you know, that he produced on, and then Sammy Bowler, my new guitar player. So.
Wow. Well, there's a lot to look forward to, and that kind of leads into my last question for you, and that is, what's up next for you? You are currently on tour with Skid Row and Buck Cherry on select dates. You got your new single out. You've got the second movie script written. It's like your whole career is just starting all over again.
Oh, yeah. It's been a lot of hard work. I have one thing I think everybody'd like to know. I just wrote a song called Scared to Death. It's kind of everybody tells me it sounds like Ozzy, Alice Cooper, all that kind of stuff. But I wrote it for a film that I'm in, that I star in. I play a character called The Grog, called Scared to Death. And we just shot it in March out in California with Lynn Shay from Insidious and Something About Mary and Kingpin and all that.
Wow.
And Bill Moseley from The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. So I star right alongside Bill Moseley and Lynn Shay, and I just saw a final where the screening, we're about done with the post on it, and I saw a screening yesterday with Lynn Shay out in California and just flew back on the red eye back to Michigan. I got to get down to Cincinnati to head out on tour. So I've got the movie Scared to Death coming soon, along with Hellbilly Hollow, and like you said, Buck Cherry and Skid Row all of September. Then we're going out with Mushroom Head the whole month of October and select cities all over the Midwest and South. And then we're going to finish the LP in November, December. The double album, we're going to bring it back the way you used to open up the album, you know, and look inside.
Oh, yeah.
All the goodies and the cool art, and just really kind of give the last history over the last 3 years of how we've just come from nothing, where everybody, oh, you can't be a rock band, you can't make it in this. I mean, people have told me that my whole life, and I just shove it up their ass. But that motivates me. So
just watch me, right?
Just watch me. Tell me I can't do it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, and that's what motivates me. And here we are today on doing an interview. So that's a lot of the stuff coming up this year. We're probably going to do our first headlining tour around the U.S., go back to cities we've been in several times starting in January. So the most updated plans.
I love it. Hey, Kurt, I want to thank you for coming on the show. The brand new single is called Doom. It's out right now, along with the official music video. And I highly recommend you do what I did and you go search up. You've got a huge fan base already, but we have a worldwide audience. And if you haven't heard of Kurt Diemer yet, just Google him and check out all the great material, including this new single. I wish you the best of luck with the single and the tour, and I will be looking for the album, the double album, and the movies and all that. I hope we speak again soon, Kurt.
Oh, I'd love to be on anytime, Steve, and I appreciate you having me and taking my music to your fans out there. I really do appreciate the support.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
And that's going to be a wrap for this edition of the Hot Rock Podcast. If you want to learn more about Kurt Diemer, go to his website. It's Kurt Diemer, Diemer.com. KurtDiemer.com, and make sure and pick up his new single or listen to it or wait for the entire album. It's up to you, but the new single Doom is rocking, and so are a lot of his other tracks that you can learn about along with tour dates off of his website, again, KurtDiemer.com. I want to thank Al Evers at A-Train and all the usual suspects who put this show together. If you missed a part of it and you want to hear it again, you can hear it in its entirety for free on demand right off our website at rockpodcast.com. Let's wrap things up with the song we were talking to Kurt about just a little bit ago, his version of Have a Cigar, that if you go see him perform, it's always a part of his set. And until next time, as always, find us here every Saturday night at 6 p.m. on Famous Hits Live or on demand at hotrockpodcast.com.
Come on in. Have a cigar. Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die. Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. You're gonna go far. You're gonna fly high. You're never gonna die. You're gonna make it if you try. They're gonna love you. Yeah. I've always had a deep respect, and I mean that most sincere. The band is just fantastic. That is really what I think. Oh, by the way, which one's pink? Game, boy. We call it riding a gravy Everybody else is just green. Have you seen the charge? It's a hell of a start. It could be made into a monster if we